What's good, yo? What's good? It's your boy Mike C. Speak Clout Podcast. We're back. Took a week break. We did the 5-piece with the good brothers over at Fago Lovers, Goons Clout Gallery, my crew, Joker's Gallery, Luke the Goon, top 5 Esham songs. That was a blast. So that's on Fago Lovers right now. It aired Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, but it's available now. The homie Vodcrack was on there with me. And here he is now, man. He's right here with me as well.
Yeah. And, obviously sad circumstances today for this episode.
Yeah, we were the Rage Against the Machine, the 1992 self-titled album. We pushed that back to November because we got a lot of spooky shit going on for the Halloween season. It's my favorite time of the year. So we decided to pay tribute to the late, great Coolio, who passed away on Wednesday, I believe. I got the news Wednesday night. I woke up from a nap and I found out. And I was crushed, bro. He's a huge part of my childhood, and we'll get into that right now. Like every episode, we don't talk about an artist before we talk about him for the first time. We give the history on how we discovered said artist. So I got into Coolio at a time where he was huge. I got into hip hop period in 1995, like actually physically listening to it, buying it, all that shit. So he was big with Fantastic Voyage. But when I got down, he was already starting to get even more big with Gangsta's Paradise on the Dangerous Mind soundtrack and on the album Gangsta's Paradise. And it was an everyday after school thing. Like one of my first cassettes was It Takes a Thief. And I just fell in love with it. Loved it to death. Played that nonstop. Got Gangsta's Paradise shortly after that. So it was like a routine. Come from school, play some Super Nintendo, either Pop Tart or whatever, and bump It Takes a Thief in Gangsta's Paradise. I mean, like crazy. My the infamous stereo I talk about that my grandparents had. I would play the tapes in there when nobody was home, and that shit bumped like a motherfucker, rather than my old simple boombox. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Coolio was part of childhood, man. Kenan and Kel. I watched the early episodes of Kenan and Kel. He's on the intro, man. You know?
Yep, that's right.
It's a huge part of my childhood, man. I think he was very underlooked, very underrated, in my opinion. You know? And just a diehard Coolio fan, bro. Like, I played that Fantastic Voyage like it was going out of style. That County Line is so fucking good. We'll get to that album later on, but yeah, just a big fan of Coolio. And I'll be honest, that's what we're covering the Tommy Boy record albums, the 3 albums he has with Tommy Boy, because I don't know nothing after that. I'll keep it 1,000. So
yeah, well, I don't blame you for that because a lot of that stuff came out in like other countries exclusively. Like a lot of that stuff didn't even come out in the US. Yeah.
Somebody on my story, they posted a stack of all his albums. Like, damn. And I think it was Olivia from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, she posted it. And that makes more sense now. Because I never heard those joints. But how'd you get down with Coolio, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was Gangsta's Paradise. It's one of those songs that's always been around as far as I can remember. Yeah. Like, that, and I sort of bundled that in with songs like I Got 5 on it. It's like those are songs that I remember hearing when I was like 3 years old, 4 years old, something like that. And they've just always been in my life. And Gangsta's Paradise is one of those songs. I will get into it more later, but it's just always been around. It's always been a staple. You still hear it now, like even before Coolio passed. You still heard it on the radio and stuff. So yeah, no, it's just Free Gangsta's Paradise for me, and then much later on I got into the albums, in order. I pretty much started off with It Takes a Thief, then got Gangsta's Paradise, the album, and then eventually got My Soul as well. So I have those 3, and yeah, just like you, I never really got into the later stuff. We'll sort of briefly mention I guess like the aftermath after My Soul, but yeah, no, it's definitely a very sad, sort of sudden passing. I actually looked at like a couple of interviews he did this year, and his voice was very croaky. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it was like a steady decline or what. But yeah, no, definitely a very sad passing. Like you said, very underrated. And of course, he put in mad work before. It Takes a Thief. He was on the Dub C and the Mad Circle. Like he was an original member of there. Yeah, like he was kind of like the send dog, what I mean? He was kind of like the second rapper of the group, and he's was great there too, working with Dub C and them, and yeah, I mean he's just for me Coolio is like a very unique artist in hip hop. You know, he was West Coast to the fullest. He was definitely like, you know, definitely has like that kind of gangster kind of vibe to him. But at the same time, he was humorous. You know what I mean? And he was a great storyteller, and he just offered something different. You know, he wasn't as you know, hardcore as say like a Spice One or an Ice Cube or an Ice T or something. He was definitely a lot more kind of jovial in his approach, and I think that was why he was able to blow up. You know what I mean? He was a lot more relatable to people who weren't, you know, familiar with like that kind of gangster lifestyle. But you know, he still did hard shit as well. You know, like even Gangsta's Paradise, as big as it is, it's actually a cold song, you know. So yeah, Coolio, definitely a big loss, and yeah, looking forward to doing the show for sure.
Yeah, like you said, you know, he was jovial with his approach and added comedy to his shit. But this dude, you know, is a Mona Park Compton Crip too. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, definitely.
Don't get this twisted. Yeah, man. Try to dig into these albums. Let's stop, man. 1994. Takes a Thief. Man, the first album I got, because I seen the Fantastic Voyage video and just fell in love with it. And it's my favorite album from Coolio. I think it's amazing. I would call it a classic because I love it so much. It's been part of my life. If you want to call it a personal classic, if you want, I call it a fucking classic. Because it stands the test of time, man. And it's incredible. Yeah, so Fantastic Voyage sets it off. Love that shit. If I had to pick a favorite song off, it would be County Line, though. That's dope as fuck. It's relatable. That's kind of like, I don't know, would you call Wick over here? You get your food stamps and shit like that, and it's just fucking packed and annoying. You know, people just being rude as fuck. Somebody got their shoes off. I smell their feet, you know. Just fucking going through it, trying to get by. Love that song. That beat is fire. I don't know who the fuck did that. You know who did that, Ross?
It was probably that guy, Brand Dobbs. I know he did a lot of stuff for Coolio.
It's just West Coast, got like a battle cat feel to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the samples as well. You know, you got the Slick Rick sample, you know. This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh. And it's got the message, you know, Grandmaster Flash, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, fire.
My mama love it, Gangsta. Love that shit. Great storytelling on that. Ghetto Cartoon. Gee, I fucking love that. I know Cube did that with Gangsta's Fairy Tale and all that. But man, he did it just as fucking good. I love that shit. Amazing song. Smoking Sticks, that Sherm. You know, Cali had like a Sherm epidemic, that PCP smoke. You know, love that. Can of corn, just getting by, you know what I'm saying? Eating a can of corn for dinner and shit like that. It Takes the Thief. The title track is mad dark. I love that shit. That beat is crazy. You know, just talking about being a criminal, catching licks and shit like that, man. Love that song. Ugly Bitches. Hilarious. I love that shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking great, man. Yeah, fantastic fucking album, man. If I had to pick top 3 songs, it would be County Line, Fantastic Voyage, and that Ghetto Cartoon. What's Dub C on? You Know Who? What song is Dub C?
Yeah. Down with the mad ass, You Know Who.
You Know Who. Yeah, man. That Dub C joint is fucking fire. But yeah, this is an album that me and my boys talked about in school and shit like that. And my cousin Holly, she was a big fan of this album too. And it's just memories of me. So yeah, my favorite Coolio album, I give this a 4.5 mics. Like I said, top 3 songs: County Line, Fantastic Voyage, and Ghetto Cartoon, man. Love this album. Great album. Tommy Boy Records, 1994. Fantastic album. Never get sick of it. Love it. What's your thoughts on It Takes a Thief, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, a great album. Like you said, like, what a way to kick things off a Fantastic Voyage, you know, absolute banger of a song. Yeah, that's one of those like singles, you know, when you first hear it, you just like it immediately. You know, yes. Come on, y'all, let's take a ride. Don't say shit, just get inside. Love it. Love the beat on that. Of course, you know, samples the song Fantastic Voyage as well pretty heavily. But yeah, just, you know, banging song. You know, life is a bitch and then you die, trying to still get a piece of that apple pie. You know, great song. Really, really good.
Oh, so good.
Great. Yeah, that's one of those songs. Yeah, don't get tired of that at all. And yeah, County Line is so dope as well, you know. You know, I haven't got a job since 1982, you know, him talking about, yeah, like you said, you can great storytelling from Coolio. Doesn't
Yeah,
get props from a lyrical perspective. Like, yeah, and like I said earlier, he was just different. He offered something different. He brought something sort of new to the table, and yeah, I mean that's another great song. Yeah, County Line is great. Um, one of my favorites is that Smoking Sticks. You know, who got the bomb? Who
who
got the
got the
bomb?
bomb? Somebody, anybody, who got the fire, bro?
Yeah,
So good.
you know, that's just a great track. You know, I mean, great flow on there, and yeah, just really enjoyed the production on that track as well. You know what I mean? Very upbeat and very dope. Love that kind of corn that you mentioned too. You know, of like the horn, like kind of samples in the background as well. Love the kind of mellow vibe that song has. Again, just really good like storytelling. You know, him talking
Yeah.
about being broke and sort of struggling, and again, very relatable for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's a great song too. Yeah, you know who with Dub C, as you mentioned, very dope. You know, I love when he says, Coolio, you know, at the end of the first verse, he's like, I don't give a fuck about you or your crew. I'm down with the mad ass, you know who. Like, just the way he says it, like, he's pissed on that song. It's like a rare, like, we always know Coolio as this kind of like smooth, like cool character, you know, hence the name. Like,
Yeah.
but, you know, he sounds pissed on that song. And yeah, Dub C murdered it as well, you know. As always, you know, Dub C is one of my favorite MCs ever. We definitely need to do something on him someday. Love
Yeah,
Dub C.
top 5 dubstep songs or something like that, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you know, dope that they continued working with each other. You know, even after Coolio left after the first Dub C and the Mad Circle album. It Takes a Thief, the title track, is just, it's definitely on my top 3. I love that song. I love the overall eerie vibe of it, the production.
Yeah.
And again, it's great storytelling, you know, about him sort of, you know, breaking and entering. And that's one of the hardest songs that he's ever done. No doubt about it. I
Yes.
love that song. Fantastic. Yeah. What else do I really like? I really like Thought You Knew towards the end of the album. That's featuring 40 Thieves, who were like a West Coast duo that were closely affiliated with Coolio. He really tried his hardest getting putting them on, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
They never really took off, but they released a pretty good album in '97. It was, yeah, pretty solid. But yeah, he always tried to put 40 Thieves on. They were on all 3 of the Tommy Boy records, and
Yeah,
yeah, Thought You Knew is dope. You know, I really like the sample on there. It's the same sample that would be on the DJ Pooh song, Whoop Whoop, you know, of Cam. That's a nice cube. It's the same sample as that. But yeah, that's a dope track. You know what I mean? All 3 guys do a great job just kind of spitting over that. Just a really good, fun track to listen to. And I remember at the end, oh my goodness, with J-Ro. Oh man,
oh man,
love
he's
that.
crazy.
Yeah. And that another single, that was another single off the album, and just love, like, they completely nailed that nostalgic feeling from that song, you know, just reminiscing back in the days. And yeah, I love that song. What a great way to end off the album. But yeah, overall, I agree. I mean, there are a couple of songs that I'm not crazy about, you know, they're not bad, but I'm not like fawning over them. Like On My Way to Harlem, it's fine. It's not one of my favorites. Hand on My Nutsack, not one of my favorites either. It's fine, but it's not one of my favorites, you know. But yeah, like overall, a really good album, really consistent all the way through. 16 tracks, but there's no like duds, you know what I mean? There's nothing whack on here at all. Yeah, and you got some really great singles, you know, kicks off fantastically with Fantastic Voyage, of course, and then County Line. Mama, I'm in Love with a Gangster. They're all singles, and then it ends up with I Remember. Yeah. And then you got, you know, Ugly Bitches, like you mentioned, you know, that's great. So yeah. It's, you know, the thing about Coolio is that he hits up all kind of different subject matter on It Takes a Thief, and it all works, you know what I mean? You know, he does the kind of goofy songs, but he does the hard songs. He does, you know, the kind of conscious songs, you know, like Can of Corn and County Line, and it all comes together really well. Really like the production. It Takes a Thief is definitely grittier, production-wise than some of his later albums, in my opinion. Which, really dope. It still has that West Coast feel. And it's a great album. I'm going to go with a strong 4 for It Takes a Faith. A strong 4. Yeah, a great album, though. Definitely, if anyone hasn't heard the full thing, definitely recommend it. My top 3 songs are Fantastic Voyage has to be on there, of course. It's just so good. It Takes a Faith title track, and I Remember. That's my top 3.
Ain't no blood, ain't no crippin', ain't no punk ass nigga set tripping. Fire, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. So fucking good. Takes a Thief, 1994. Get his second album. This is the year I got down with Coolio. The year I got down with hip hop, 1995. Gangsta's Paradise. Behind that was Dangerous Minds, which is like a cheesy kind of after school special movie, you may think, but I love the fucking film. To this day, I love it. I watched not too long ago with my girl and shit. I love the movie and the album. It's incredible, man. I remember being at my cousin Holly's house and she had the CD back when I still had tapes and just looking at the back cover and just wanting it. So I copped the CD. The tape at Ames department store. For my East Coast heads, you know what Ames is. It's not around no more, but it used to be in the 90s. And I played this tape like crazy, man. Intro, that's how it is with LV. So Central Cartel LV, He just like, yo, the sick of living here. These crackheads jacking my shit, man. He's like, Coolio's like, as much as I hate this motherfucker, I love this motherfucker. I thought that was dope. Then they get Ghetto Highlights, which is like a tour guide to like Cali, man. Love that shit. Great fucking song. And everyone knows Gangsta's Paradise, man. I was telling my girl, I'm like, yo, I'm not sick of this song because I don't listen to it a lot. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I was a kid, it was played like ad nauseum, and everyone knows it and loves it, but I'm not sick of it. I fucking love Gangsta's Paradise. It's so fucking good. That Pastime Paradise, Stevie Wonder flip, you know what I'm saying? Just an amazing song. Coolio talking about life's ills and being a young gangbanger and shit like that. I love that line. When you say, I'm a loped out gangster, set tripping banger, and my homies is down, so it arouse my anger, fool. Like, yo, flames. Love this song to death. LV killed the vocal performance. I just watched them perform that on Howard Stern in 95.
That's the best version, yeah.
I loved it. I loved it, man. So good. Another song I love. I know Ross loves this shit. Exercise Your Game, man. Banging.
Yeah, V40, yeah.
Cam. E40 fucking slamming.
My man Cam. Goddamn. Yeah.
E40 shots are like the Mozzie and shit on there.
Yeah. He took that opportunity to shout out his own people. That was kind of funny.
It's that Bay Area mom music, my nigga. I know Coolio's from LA, Compton. But it's like that's like just I love it so much. That's a great track. 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. I think that was a single as well.
Oh yeah, big song.
That shit is slamming, man. Love that shit. Kinda High, Kinda Drunk. I used to play that shit a lot when I was a kid. That's one of my favorite songs on the album. But oh my god, this might be my favorite. The beat on here, instant Crip Walk vibes. The Revolution.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. That's one of like that and It Takes a Faith for like his hardest songs, I think, ever.
That's my favorite shit, probably.
Yeah.
So fucking good. And then Razcast, that track with Razcast. What is it? Because it ain't even featured.
It's the posse cut at the end.
Yeah, Get Up, Get Down. That shit is fucking lit. Amazing fucking album. 17 tracks. Shit, man. It Takes a Thief is my favorite, but I might switch to this some days. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's hard, but Gangsta's Paradise is fucking lit. I give it a, there's a song I don't like on here. Where's it at? So it ain't whack. It's just not one of my cup of tea. For my sisters, I get the message and stuff like that, but it ain't one of my go-tos. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's a strong 4. Top 3 songs for me, The Revolution, easily. Gangsta's Paradise is so fucking classic. And the Exercise Your Game. Those are my top 3 songs. Great fucking album. It don't get looked at as an album. Just talk about the single, but yeah, this album's great. Coolio Gangsta's Paradise, 1995, the year I fell in love with hip hop. And for the last time, I can't stress how big the song was, you know? Everywhere. Like you said, it was around 4 or 5 years old, you know, so it's been there. So yeah. Classic album. I don't give a fuck. Love this album.
Yeah, I mean, we really can't stress how big Gangsta's Paradise is. I personally think someone can, argue this or whatever. If anyone has a better example, then let me know. But I think Gangsta's Paradise is the most famous hip hop song of all time.
I'm not arguing with that.
Because, before, actually earlier on this year, and Coolio even posted about this. The official upload on YouTube by Tommy Boy from 5 years ago hit 1 billion views.
Jesus.
I can't think of any other hip hop song from that era with that amount of views. I can't think of anything that comes close to that. I was looking at even other sort of big songs like Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby. He has 150 million. He's not even halfway to billion yet. You know what I mean? Coolio is Gangsta's Paradise over 1 billion. That's, crazy. And if you look at the statistics as well, charting wise, Gangsta's Paradise, the song, number one, I'm not going to go through all the countries, but Australia, Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Germany. Well, yeah, might as well list them all off. Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Scotland, Sweden, Switzerland, UK, US, Zimbabwe, all number one single in all those countries. I don't think I can't think of anyone that's come close to that. We always talk about, well, I sometimes bring up the fact certain artists are really big in the US, but they don't cross over internationally. Coolio took over the world in a way that I can't believe it. It's you can't put that in the words. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And
it is. Put it this way, Ross. Melissa don't listen to hip hop like that, right? But she can rap that whole song, word for word. I heard her do it, the whole fucking song.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Because I've been laughing and blasting so long that even my mama thinks that my mama's gone. And that opening line is hard. This song is dark. It's not some pop song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If 1, 2, 3, 4 Something New became a massive hit, I could kind of see it because it's kind of upbeat and kind of fun and funky, you know what I mean? But this is a dark song, that Stevie Wonder sample, that those haunting kind of strings, and then that those opening lines are pretty menacing and dark. Obviously the song doesn't really have any cussing on it, which probably helped it get massive, but yeah, I mean, it's a dark song. And the thing that you mentioned that Howard Stern performance, I love the lyrics that he raps in that version. They're a little bit more explicit because he says, instead of I got my 10 in my hand, he says Mac 10 in my hand. And at the very end of the song, instead of I know my life is out of luck, fool, he says that's why I've got my hand on the pump, fool. You know what I mean? It's dope. It's yeah, it's a little bit more explicit. It makes me wonder if maybe those were the original lyrics, and maybe he was told to turn it down, maybe. But yeah, that Howard Stern performance is amazing. LV at the end when he says, "There ain't no gangsters in paradise." I wish that was on the album. I love that.
Likewise, I was thinking that the other day.
Outro, yeah, that would be amazing. But yeah, I can't stress how big Gangsta's Paradise is. See, radio stations over here, if it don't even play any hip hop at all, they play Gangsta's Paradise. I don't know why, but that's how powerful and how big the song is. Literally everyone knows it. It gets played everywhere. And you know what? I think it's an amazing song. I think that's sort of evident how good Gangsta's Paradise is. I think pretty much anyone can like it. You know what I mean? It's a song that everyone kind of respects. And it's obviously got a good message to it, even though it's dark and it's hard. But LV from South Central Cartel, amazing job on the hook, you know what I mean? See when he kicks in and starts singing that hook and you got the backing vocals and everything, it sounds amazing to this day. It sounds incredible. And yeah, I mean, LV, this song was so big it got him a deal with Tommy Boy. You know, that's how big it was. You know, it's crazy. So yeah, can't speak enough about Gangsta's Paradise. I love it too. It's not a song that I necessarily stick on that much, just because you hear it so much. Well, I hear it every once in a while anyway, but I don't get sick of it. It's such a fantastic song. It's definitely, you know, a well-deserved like classic, you know. And obviously like Coolio has other hits, but he, you know, sometimes Coolio does get sort of seen as a one-hit wonder, but I think that's because Gangsta's Paradise was just so huge that all the other singles seem small in comparison. But obviously he did have other hits as well. But yeah, just it is a phenomenal song for sure. And and of course, like, it was originally on the Dangerous Minds soundtrack, and I'm thinking, I don't know this for sure, there's a speculation on my part, but I think they looked at that and thought it would be stupid, one, not to have it on the album, and two, we might as well just name the album after it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing. Gangsta's Paradise, the song is phenomenal. Absolutely. And then the rest of the album, from Gangsta's Paradise, the actual album is really good too. This is actually, I re-listened to all three of these albums for this show.
Likewise.
Gangsta's Paradise might be my favorite now. Like you said, it's very close. I used to be a Takes a Thief guy all day. I used to be. But after listening to Gangsta's Paradise, I think this album might be more consistent all the way through.
Not mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, the production is smoother. There's definitely more like live instrumentation on here as well compared to It Takes a Thief. It Takes a Thief is more kind of blatantly sample heavy, while Gangsta's Paradise has more like interpolations and live instrumentation. And yeah, definitely a kind of slightly more mellow vibe throughout, but it still has like elements of darkness. It's a good nighttime album, I think. Gangsta's Paradise, you know, that Ghetto Highlights is a great example of that. Very dope. The second single off the album, Too Hot, love that song. Very dope. Featuring JT Taylor from Kool and the Gang. Great song. You know, talking about you know, promoting you know, using you know, a condom and avoiding, you know, HIV and AIDS, you know, because that was obviously a big topic back then. And yeah, that's a great song. Love how kind of smooth that is for sure. Exercise Your Game, like you mentioned, with E40, Coolio, Cam, and the 40 Thieves. What a great kind of posse cut that is. I love the way E40 comes in. Ever since I was 13 years old, just like, I love how the song like immediately kicks in with E40. Like, there's no intro, nothing, just like yeah, when I was 15 years old, straight dope game, I was told, like, yeah, it's great. You know, I love E40, one of my favorite rappers of all time. And yeah, so dope that they had a song together, like both in their primes, you know what I mean? This is in a major way era. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, love the beat on that too. Just kind of like that kind of bass heavy, like banging kind of production on there. Yeah, and then Coolio comes in, and then like I love Cam, you know what I mean? I love the part where he says, you know, I'm rated X like Malcolm, E40, Coolio, and Cam sprinkle game like talcum. That's fire.
Yeah, came all about that fucking militant shit too. So yeah, that Malcolm X line fire.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I love you know, Cam in that era was dope too. You know, he was in that Made in America around this time.
Oh yeah,
so
Quick, Battle Cat on the album. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's my favorite album from him for sure.
Likewise.
Yeah, so that's a great song. 1, 2, 3, 4, Something New. The version that's on the album is a little bit different, unfortunately. I like the single version a bit better. It's a little bit more you know, vibrant, a little bit more poppy, I guess. But like the album version is good as well. I know that the anniversary edition that came out a few years ago, I think it has it on there.
It does at the end.
Yeah, that's cool. That's dope. But yeah, I like that song too. Yeah. I feel like each album has like a sort of like a very upbeat single. You know, kind of like feel like, to me, 1, 2, 3, 4, Something New is like Fantastic Voyage Part 2. You know, because he even says towards the start of the song, you know, this ain't a fantastic voyage, but I'm still on a mission to see if I can get your attention. You know, it almost feels like a part 2 to me. But yeah, that's a dope song. Definitely like a party anthem. Very dope. One of my favorite songs in the album is towards the end, That Bright as the Sun. I love that. That's
Yeah, I
so
forgot to mention
dope.
that. That's fire as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was Leviti singing on that. You know, the guy who did like a lot of stuff with E40 and stuff. Sounded like him on that, but it's not. But yeah, love that song. Love the beat on that. It's very dope. Yeah, I mean, the Revolution, like you said. I mean, I think our top three is the same.
Yeah.
The Revolution is so
Oh my
dope. You
god,
know,
that beat.
I'm seeing bodies in the alley and blood in the valley, from the shores of Maine all the way to Compton, Kelly. Oh man, you know, playing
Flames.
tag with body bags, bullets, and bloody rags. Like he killed that. That is, yeah, I think that's his hardest song ever. You know, when the revolution comes, I'm gonna be up front with my finger on the trigger of a Mossberg pump. Like you know, with my nine in the hand, braids in my hair. Like he killed that song.
So fucking good.
And like you said, the beat on there is just so like dark and hard on that song. Love the revolution. And yeah, that posse cut up the end, it's pretty dope too. You got 40 Thieves on there, Razkaz, Dub C's on there again. Yeah, really, really good album. Like I said, I think this album's super consistent. For me, there's nothing on this album I dislike. I actually like the whole thing. It's a really, really good album, and I think it's his longest too. But or the first three. But it's really good. You know, 17 songs, a couple of interludes on there. But yeah, nothing that gets in the way of the album. And yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to give it 4.5 mics. For me, I think I'm going to give it the edge. For me, it's my favorite album at the moment. Could change again, but listen to all three back to back. I'm like, yo, this Gangsta's Paradise. I love it. It's really good. And my top three songs are the same as yours. You know, Gangsta's Paradise, Exercise Your Game, and The Revolution. But
Bangers.
yeah. Yeah, I mean the entire album stuff, you know, Ghetto Highlights, you know, Too Hot, you know, Bright as the Sun, you know, that kind of high, kind of drunk that you mentioned. That's dope, you know. I like
kind of drunk.
You know, cruising, you know, sampling, you know, Smokey Robinson, you know,
it's banging.
Yeah, that could have been a single. There's a couple of songs on here I was listening to. It's like, yeah, that could have been a single too, you know, definitely. But yeah, great album, definitely. Like, it's, you know. People, you know, obviously know Gangsta's Paradise is song, but don't sleep on the album. The album's really good.
I agree. The whole album's fire, man. Yeah, for sure. Other than, you know, a song I don't care for that much, and I don't think it's whack, but yeah, a fantastic record. Then we get to 1997. His album, My Soul. Man. Another album that I copped at the same place. The Ames Department Store. Before I got the album, though, I got that See When You Get There single. They had the cassette single. That single's like $1 back then. But yo, I'm from the era where you had a blank cassette, a 90-minute Maxwell, sitting by your boombox, listening to the radio station. For me, jamming 94.5 and Hot 106. And they played this song a lot in 97. I fucking love it. Ooh La La. I fucking love that song. And I stood by the radio to record it. Because I heard it and I was like, oh shit. New single from Coolio. And I recorded it. And that's my favorite single on the album. I love that song. But the album, I would say, is his most personal. You know what I'm saying? I love that One Mo, Devil is Dope, Hit 'Em Up at Raz Kaz. Fire. The Nightfall is dope too. Like I said, Ooh La La. Love that shit. Favorite song on the album, like completely, is that Can I Get Down one time? Can I Get Down one time? That beat is flames. See When You Get There, 40 Thieves. Like I said, I had that single. Dope album. Doesn't hit like the first two for me, but I rocks with it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of got a dark feel to it. The cover's dark, kind of rainy vibe to it. But yeah, favorite song on there is that Can I Get Down one time? Then I got that Ooh La La. And then probably Hit 'Em Up at Raz Kaz. Yeah, 1997, My Soul. Dope album. Not like the first two, though. In my personal opinion, the first two are just, you say Coolio, you think of that, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, there's songs on here that I really love. and I'll give it a 4. But yeah, maybe I'm gonna go 3.5, but that's kind of like weak. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah. Well, 3.5 is like a 7 out of 10. That's still pretty good, you know?
I'll give it a 3.5, yeah, because I can't give it the same rating as the other two. But yeah, other than that, that I like when my favorite Coolio was that like bouncy shit he does, like that real gangster shit. And can I get one time? Can I get down one time? Is like that. So yeah, My Soul, 1997. Ooh La La is my shit though. That shit is so fire to me. But I prefer, Taste of Thief, Gangsta's Paradise, Coolio. What do you guys say about My Soul?
Yeah, I mean, this album's definitely nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be. Nowhere near as bad. I see this album get a lot of flack online over the years, and it's definitely nowhere near as bad. Yeah, I think this album is decent. It's definitely not as good as the first two, like you said, but it's not a bad album. There's actually quite a few pretty good songs on here. I don't think there's anything absolutely brilliant on it. Like there's nothing like as good as like Gangsta's Paradise or The Revolution or Fantastic Voyage. There's nothing as good as any of those tracks on here. But this is still a pretty solid album all the way through for the most part. Like Nightfall is my favorite song on the album. I think that beat is really good.
Yeah.
That's really like the overall kind of vibe of that song. It's really good. I really like Ooh La La too. A funny thing about that song, I remember watching an interview with Coolio a few years ago, and he said that was like one of the weakest tracks on the album, and he was really upset for Tommy Boy picked it as a single because he didn't like it that much.
I love that shit.
Yeah. Coolio said he broke down, the whole like concept of like Tommy Boy had this like third album curse, like he mentioned, himself and My Soul, not doing as well as the first two albums. If any listed, like De La Soul, Blue Mind State, dope album, but it didn't sell like the first two. It doesn't get credited like the way the first two do. Same thing with like Digital Underground. They were on Tommy Boy. Body Hat Syndrome didn't get the commercial success of Sex Packets and Sons of the P. Naughty by Nature with Poverty's Paradise. On and on and on. House of Pain. Tommy Boy, I didn't realize it, but he's got a point. Like the Tommy Boy like third album on Tommy Boy Records doesn't seem to get much like marketing, I guess is what he was trying to say, and like they always seem to sort of underperform commercially. And I mean, I guess that's true for Coolio as well. I guess it was hard for him though because he was following up such a like humongous album. He was never going to be as big as Gangsta's Paradise with that single Gangsta's Paradise. But See You When You Get There is actually like one of his most popular songs for sure. That song did really well for him. And I like that song. I think that's a really good way to end off the album actually. And obviously since his passing it kind of hits different, kind of sad listening to it now, definitely feel differently hearing that song now for sure. But yeah, See You When You Get There is a nice track. I do like that song. And again, featuring 40 Faves, and they were on that song One Mo as well towards the start of the album. That song's dope as well. Overall it's a decent album. My biggest problem with it, I think Coolio himself, his flow isn't that great on a lot of these songs. He's kind of rushing like a lot of his rhymes on here. It sounds kind of offbeat and sloppy. I'm not a big fan of that. That's kind of my big criticism of the album. And I don't think the beats are as good either. But they're not as good.
If you could tell by my little short review, I had not much to say. The other two are gleaming for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know this album as well either. Like, I just haven't heard it as much over the years. I've listened to it a few times, but it's not...
got it when it came out too. So
yeah. But yeah, it's a decent album. It's definitely nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be, in my opinion, for sure. Definitely worth checking out. It's probably like a cheap album if you want to grab it or just check it out online. It's definitely not as bad as people make it out to be. But it's still not a great album. It's good for fans to check out, but if you hadn't heard Coolio before, it's definitely listen to the first two albums first. My top three songs would be Ooh La La, Nightfall, and Yeah, but I like that hit him with Razkaz as well. That's dope. You know, and of course, you know, Coolio was on Soul and Ice as well on the song
Yep.
Drama. Razkaz, yeah, classic feature right there. Coolio has some dope features under his belt. That's probably like the best one, I would say. But yeah, I would give that. I would give My Soul a 3. It's a decent album. It's not a great album, but it's decent.
Word. Yeah, I can't argue with that at all, bro. Yeah, Coolio, strong loss, man. You know, childhood. That's all I think of. My childhood, and he should get respected.
Yeah,
He's a legend in the game. There's no denying that. You can't dispute that.
yeah, I mean, it's a shame. Like after My Soul, you know, I think he ran into like legal problems, and I think he was just having personal issues as well.
Straight
He
up
got
crackhead problems too, right?
yeah, for sure, and he ended up getting dropped by Tommy Boy, even though I think he was happy to leave at that point anyway. And I remember him saying in an interview when DreamWorks were starting up their record label, apparently he was supposed to be one of the guys like first signed to that, and that didn't work out. And yeah, over the 2000s, he released albums that only came out in certain territories. So like Coolio.com, his fourth album only came out in Japan, apparently. So that's, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, you know, just kind of faded into obscurity, unfortunately. But he did other stuff. I know he did like cooking shows, and like he was on Big Brother over here in the UK, the reality TV show. Yeah. So he was definitely always around, and people, you know, Gangsta's Paradise is one of those like eternal songs. Like people will always be listening to that, and you know, those you know, first two albums are so good, and just yeah, like he maybe didn't like do like a lot of like music that people know after the 90s, but like his legacy will still always live on forever from those early albums. So yeah, like when I was thinking about this as well, it's like, you know, in 95, 96, he was as big as Pac. He was as big as Snoop. You know what I mean? On the West Coast, like that might feel weird to say now, but like back then he was as big as them. And yeah, absolutely amazing. You can't take that away from Coolio.
And he got that motherfucking hatchet man on him, dog.
Oh, yeah, the Juggalo Cool tattoo or something. And he spelled Juggalo wrong, but he says that it was intentional. Yeah, I'm not sure about
that. Well, it's so dope that a rapper that you fucking love has the way you are on him. You know, that's dope as fuck.
Yeah, and apparently he was always like a really nice guy as well, like just in general. I actually know a girl. I went to school with a girl who actually got her picture taken with him in Tesco for some reason. He was in Tesco, the supermarket, and she got a picture with him. And yeah, I even saw the picture she showed me on her phone. I was like, oh shit, you know, Coolio and stuff. So yeah, no, it's just apparently he was always like super nice guy, really down to earth, and you know, he always, you know, gave time to his fans and stuff like that. You know, it's just a real sad loss. You know what I mean? Like, just such a cool dude, and you know, he made great music, and yeah, it's just one of those ones that didn't see it coming. You know?
No, I woke up from a nap and found it out, and definitely was hurt because, like I said, Coolio's childhood, man. Yeah, man, Coolio, man. R.I.P. Condolences to his family. The rest of the fans out there, man. How's that 40 Thieves album, man? I never heard that shit.
It's solid. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not bad. Good.
Yeah. Love the cover.
Love the cover. Yeah, the cover's really dope. He tried so hard to put 40 Thieves on. If you remember in the Gangsta's Paradise video, he's sitting in front of graffiti that says 40 Thieves in the background.
And like, Michelle Pfeiffer looking at each other and shit.
Yeah. Iconic video. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, man. R.I.P. Coolio, man.
Absolutely.
Chat's kind of dead. We can end it right here, bro.
Yeah. I watched so much Kenan and Kel back in the day.
Like what? Same Rulo's Orange Soda, nigga. You know, come on, bro. Legendary.
Yep.
You know, Nickelodeon type shit, nigga. You know the vibes. But R.I.P. Coolio, definitely one of my favorite rappers coming up as a kid. Like early on, I had the cassette, so R.I.P. Coolio. Glad we could do this, break down those albums, man. Takes the Thief, Takes Paradise, and My Soul. So See you motherfuckers on the flip side when shit starts to get motherfucking spooky. Some wicked shit going down, you know?
Yep.
So see y'all niggas next week, man. Peace.
Peace.